Добрый день. Добро пожаловать еще раз в Британскую высшую школу дизайна, на этот раз на факультет и программы по бакалавриату маркетинг. Программы по маркетингу ведутся по франшизному соглашению с нашим партнером, университетом Хартфордшир, и мы в этом году будем запускать уже третий набор на первый курс бакалавриата по маркетингу. Для того, чтобы поступить на программу по бакалавриату, сначала надо будет пройти курс Foundation, поскольку, наверное, вам это уже все рассказали, поскольку наше образование российское среднее подразумевает 11 лет обучения, а британское среднее образование подразумевает 12 лет обучения в средней школе. Поэтому, когда английские студенты, выпускники средней школы поступают в заведение высшего образования, они могут сразу же прийти на первый курс бакалавриата. И обучаются они в университете 3 года, в то время как в России, как вам хорошо известно, обычно бакалавриат занимает 4 года, а иногда даже дольше. Для того, чтобы все-таки наши будущие абитуриенты подготовились и поняли, правильный ли их выбор, мы в нашей школе помимо программ по бакалавриату и помимо программы подготовительного курса Foundation Business и Marketing подготовили специальную программу, которую мы называем Introduction to Marketing. Эта программа уже идет у нас уже было 3 выпуска. В этом году мы будем запускать уже 4-й раз эту же программу. И она предназначена в первую очередь молодым людям, которые учатся сейчас в 10-11 классе школы. То есть это программа для 16-18-летних. Она не является обязательной. Для того, чтобы поступить на курс Foundation Business и Marketing по окончании средней школы, вам не обязательно проходить Introduction to Marketing. Но если вы не уверены в том, или наоборот, если вас уже сейчас интересует все то, что связано с маркетингом, бизнесом, предпринимательством, пожалуйста, мы будем очень рады видеть молодых людей на нашей программе Introduction to Marketing. Перед вами как раз наш 2-й выпуск и те студенты, которые получили наши дипломы по окончании курса Introduction to Marketing, и наш куратор Оксана Белогурова. Оксана Белогурова давно уже работает с подростками, но в первую очередь это человек из индустрии, в первую очередь человек, который провел в рекламных агентствах очень много времени на руководящих должностях и понимает как структуру того, что происходит с рекламой, от кого она приходит и как она появляется, так это и человек, который имеет опыт руководящей работы, то есть понимает и основы бизнеса, и основы того, что мы называем коммуникационной стратегией. Основой, конечно, это еще мягко сказано, все-таки наш курс предназначен для того, чтобы молодые люди развили ряд как hard skills, так и soft skills, гибкие навыки и профессиональные навыки. Профессиональные навыки у нас будут состоять из того, что мы будем изучать с вами маркетинг. Может быть, это не совсем академическое изучение, но мы будем в основном все-таки заниматься тем, что мы будем знакомиться с тем, с чем именно профессиональные маркетологи работают каждый день. Мы будем знакомиться и с теорией, но мы будем знакомиться и с практическим ее применением, с практическими ее аспектами. В первую очередь нам маркетинг нравится еще и потому, что это универсальная, безусловно, профессия, которая очень хорошо может найти себе применение в любой совершенно сфере, в любой области. Это может быть спорт, это может быть кино, это может быть мода, это может быть производство FMCG, это может быть любая абсолютно структура, в том числе и государственная, сейчас требует специалистов по маркетингу. Но, безусловно, с нашей точки зрения, маркетинг – это не реклама в первую очередь, все-таки это более всеобъемлющий термин и понятие. И одним из самых важных для нас является блок в данной программе по Introduction to Marketing, блок по основам предпринимательства и блок по основам бизнеса. Хотя, безусловно, особое удовольствие наши студенты получают от того блока, который связан с рекламой. Еще раз, этот курс все-таки для тех, кто учится в школе, для тех, кто учится в 10-11 классе. Он помогает подготовиться к поступлению на программу британского высшего образования. Надо сказать, что сам по себе этот курс и служит нашим вступительным испытанием на программу Foundation Business and Marketing. То есть на программу Foundation Business and Marketing можно прийти как по окончании средней школы, пройдя наше вступительное испытание, которое состоит из небольшого бизнес-кейса и из небольшого эссе, так можно и не проходить это вступительное испытание, хотя я не считаю его сложным, оно скорее мотивационное. Также можно его не проходить, если вы закончили курс Introduction to Marketing. Вы автоматически по результатам успешного прохождения курса Introduction to Business and Marketing вы поступаете сразу же, можете сразу же поступить и перейти к Foundation Business and Marketing. Хочу вам показать один из примеров того, что студенты у нас получают в результате этого курса. Они у нас защищают свой собственный проект. Проект не обязательно привязан к каким-то абсолютно реальным бизнесам, но, как правило, он подразумевает, что, в принципе, можно было бы запустить это и как стартап, ту или иную идею. Вот это одни из тех проектов, которые у нас были в этом году от студентов. Спасибо за внимание. К сожалению, я вас не слышу. Мне было бы проще, конечно, ориентироваться на ваши вопросы. Если у вас есть вопросы, я буду рада на них сейчас ответить. И сразу после этого мы перейдем к презентации программы Foundation Business и Marketing и программ бакалавриата по маркетингу. Спасибо. Есть ли вопросы? В чате я вопросов не вижу. Передаю слово своим коллегам Луке Скаини и Майклу Гибсону. И они вам расскажут о наших программах Foundation Business and Marketing и бакалавриат по маркетингу. Спасибо, до свидания.
Hello, I'm Mike Gibson, and I'm now going to talk to you about the marketing and advertising course, along with my colleague Luca. And I'm just about to share my screen with you. So give me a minute or two, and I will have that technically all sorted out. Hi, so hopefully you can now see a screen on which is written marketing and advertising at Britannica. If there are any problems, Alia, perhaps you can tell me in my WhatsApp feed, which I'm looking at simultaneously here. Together with Luca, who is one of the people responsible for running the course, we're going to try and give you a little bit of a feeling and insight as to what it's like to study marketing and advertising at Britannica. What am I going to talk to you about now? Today's agenda for the next 30 minutes or so, we're going to look at the team of people who are part of this course and will be responsible for teaching you. And then we're just going to have a little tour of marketing, what it is, some initial ideas. And then Luca's going to explain to you in detail more about the courses themselves and the different routes and possibilities. And at the end, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the Cannes Festival, which is a wonderful industry celebration of the best creative in advertising. And then at the end, we will have a question and answer. Okay, so the team. I'm Mike Gibson. I'm a creative director. I'm not actually an academic. I work in the industry, and I am currently working about 40% of my time in the course. Luca, who you'll speak to later on, is one of the course leaders, and so he's actually full-time there. One of the good things about having people from the industry is it gives the course a very sort of up-to-date and realistic connection with the industry. So there's a great balance between people like Luca, who's an academic, and myself, who is an industry specialist. Here's Luca. He's worked many years and linked with marketing and advertising. He comes from Italy. He has a BA and MA in humanities and marketing. He's worked actually in Moscow for some years, so he's very familiar with Russia. He's worked at the branch of UNESCO and was a member of the academic staff of Ostrava Technical University, International Fashion Academy, and Polymoda International Institute of Fashion Design and Marketing. He has lots of experience, sort of also having worked outside of academia as well. So he's kind of sees the world from both sides. Then we also have Maria. In fact, we've had a little bit of information about her in Kate's presentation. She's a creative entrepreneur and director of the project Lab Wonderful. Again, another person who, like myself, works in the industry. A graduate from St. Petersburg State University, Faculty of Philosophy and Politics, HS Anhalt, Marketing Management, and Staffordshire University with an MA in Design Management. She is an academic and a member of Design Management Institute USA. And then we have Daria, who is a graduate of MGIMO, International Relations, University of Russian Ministry of Foreign Affairs, with a PhD in World Economics. She's worked as a director for analytics departments in ESPR Group and is now a CEO in Y Consulting, which is her own company, a fashion consulting and marketing research company. So she will take care of things like statistics and numbers and money and number crunching with you. So it's a great broad section of different people, and marketing is very much like that. When you go into the industry, depending on which part of the marketing spectrum you end up in, you will find people from very diverse backgrounds, and you'll be working in very diverse industries and doing very different tasks, which is one of the exciting things about marketing. So just a bit about myself. I've worked in an ad agency. As I've said, it helps keep the course current and linked to the industry. I've worked with a lot of the big brands like Visa, Procter & Gamble, Coca-Cola, Nestle, Mars, Mitsubishi, and now I'm working a lot with Avtavaz and Lada. So I've actually been in the advertising for about 20 years. I'm known for wearing odd socks, which is a personal trait. And there's even something on Russian Wikipedia about my teoria nepravnych naskov, which is quite funny. I graduated from Oxford University some years ago, and then did an MA actually at St. Martin's College of Art and Design in London, then went into advertising as an art director, and have ended up now as a creative director and creative consultant. So I started advertising in 1993, which actually was obviously quite a long time ago. My question is to you, were you even alive at that time? So a lot of stuff has changed in the last 27 years, which even I myself find kind of astounding when I think about that figure now, because it feels like just yesterday. The thing about advertising is you always are connected to what's current and what's fresh and what's happening. So you never get stale. You're always looking to reinvent yourself and find new things. When I started back in 93, we didn't even have smartphones, and the internet was still a new thing. So the world has changed a lot, and that's the great thing about marketing, is you're always going to be at the forefront of technology and ideas and new things. So it's great. This is just some of my work I've done over the last 27 years. There's a lot of work I have done. I worked a lot on Pringles in the early days of Procter & Gamble, which is a great company to be able to work with. This is some work. I've worked with Mr. Proper. You can see how Russian offers all sorts of interesting opportunities in the language, which you can't do in English, because when we say Mr. Proper, ukazujet za prekrasnym palom, that doesn't really work in English, because we don't have genders for objects like floors. So you can see advertising has all sorts of interesting possibilities linked with different markets. So now I work with Lada. With the last four years, our agency has been at the forefront of helping transform Lada's image. It's actually got a lot of new, very interesting vehicles. So this is actually a good product, but it's not enough to have a good new product. You've got to have good marketing and good advertising. And we now have this sort of Sviatoy Troika between good product, a good marketing department on behalf of Avtavaz and Lada, and a very great agency, which is our agency, doing some world advertising for Lada. And we're changing opinions about Lada. Most Russians tend to obviously love Lada. It's like svai, but on the other hand, they also kind of laugh at it in the sense of it being something that is kind of lovable but somewhat unreliable. But that is changing now to become a brand that is now desirable and producing actually world-beating cars, which can compete with people like Toyota and Kia and Volkswagen. I'm going to skip over this very long ad and go into what's actually, I think I will. I think I will show that. So we've chat. This is actually as a short movie that we've done for Lada. It won a lot of awards, and it is kind of ground changing, not just for the type of advertising that Lada did, but also for the car industry, where we resorted to a new format, which was to make a new 3-minute short film, which was hugely emotional and had less standard stereotypes of car advertising. And this is the sort of thing that's been helping to transform the image of AvtoVAZ and Lada on the Russian market. So I will pay that for you, actually. It's a nice little film. It's about 3 minutes. Oh, sorry. Come on, play.
Капли дождя отбивали неровный ритм на палубе корабля. И только редкий свет маяка скользил по огромным волнам. Вдруг морскую тишину нарушили раскаты грома. Надвигалась гроза. Хватит. Корабль капитана величественно скользил по морской глади навстречу рассвету. Тучи расступились перед долгожданными лучами солнца и осветили лицо капитана, стоящего на корме, и бушующее море как будто затаило дыхание. Спасибо тебе за море. Новая Лада Гранта держит слово.
Yes. It was a huge emotional ad. Actually made a lot of people cry, funnily enough. And very important, actually, in advertising, you need to raise people's emotions, because emotions are what links people to brands and services. People are much more emotional than they are logical. And that's always the big challenge when you are in a marketing department, because it's very hard to analyze the emotion, but it's very easy to analyze facts and figures. So what's marketing? I mean, we can talk about this for a long time. In fact, if you come and join us, we will talk to you about that and teach you about it for 3 years. But one of the things, I think, a couple of definitions that can help. Marketing is the process that identifies, anticipates, and satisfies customers' requirements profitably, where producers create products and services that actually answers a need of the customer and is both profitable for customer in terms of satisfaction and also for the people producing the product or service. There is a slightly old school system called the 4 Ps, which I still think makes a lot of sense. The 4Ps has been reinvented as the 4Es. It's also been added to. We can also hear of it referred to as the 7Ps. But one of the things I always still find useful when analyzing clients or new businesses that come to talk to us in the agency is this idea of there being a product that is something concrete that is made. That obviously might be a service, which is slightly less tangible. There's a price. How much does it cost? There is a place. Where do we find it? How is it distributed? And there is the promotion of that through all the different means possible, social media, old school advertising. Now, I work in advertising, so I live in the bottom left-hand corner. I am very much in that red square. And so my area focuses on that, the modules that I work with in advertising. The team I've talked to you about, including Luca, who will be speaking to you in a minute, they will be talking to you more about the other things such as product and price, place, distribution. Obviously, these 4 things are all interconnected, and you cannot live in one of those areas without being aware of what's happening in the others. So good advertising agencies don't just sit in the promo corner. They also obviously get involved with clients in product development, in pricing, and in distribution, and even more so in these days than when I first started in advertising, because we're more interconnected than ever before. And in fact, a lot of advertising agencies do get involved in creating products together with clients, much more than back in '93 when I started. Advertising is kind of one of the most kind of the brightest and fun area of advertising. If you haven't seen or watched Mad Men online on Netflix, then I advise you do try to do so, because actually Mad Men is dated. It's kind of from the 60s and 70s, but despite being dated, it is very realistic. And I have to tell you, there are many situations in that series that I think that I've actually met. Even some of the craziest ones that you would think that's never happened has happened, and I've actually seen it in our agency. It's also very, obviously very stylish. And a lot of these characters, literally, I can identify and name real people like that in my industry. They might dress differently, they might speak differently, but they kind of essentially represent certain types of stereotypes. It's very eye-opening and very educational. So if you've missed it, do look at it. Advertising is I think, the creative heart of marketing. As I showed you on that slide before, the 4 Ps, all those Ps are very important. But when it comes to creativity, it's kind of the most fun part of advertising. And creativity is crucial now. We see it increasing more and more, even more recently. I mean, since the COVID situation, creativity has really jumped up. There's a great guy called Sir Ken Robinson, who's a British educationist. He says creativity now is as important in education today as literacy, and we should treat it with the same status. People think schooling is all about writing good language, Russian, English, about maths and science. Creativity tends to be forgotten about. Now, creativity is essential. And that's one of the great things about doing a marketing degree in an art school, because actually you have creativity kind of around you. Your colleagues and fellow students will be involved in some of the greatest creative industries, in the visual arts and design and photography, filmmaking. There are architects nearby. And these are great people to have kind of near at hand and as colleagues as you go forward into your career. What is it that I love about advertising? Advertising it's a very special industry. It creates a tangible product every day. You actually make something physical, some sort of communication. What's great now compared to, I mean, it's always been great, but particularly now compared to when I started 27 years ago, is that you actually have all these new ways of being able to contact people, not just print ads and TV commercials, but you have a multitude of social media ways of communicating with people and different platforms. It's actually very exciting. And every day is literally a different challenge in a different industry sector, and you rub shoulders with all sorts of fascinating people. And finally, it's a human business, and there's nothing more interesting than linking with other human beings and trying to understand what it is they do and trying to help them achieve that. So marketing is a fantastic course. It will set you up for all sorts of industries in the future. Your world becomes very, very broad, and you can dive into certain areas and become more specialist. For example, PR. Now, I will cover a PR module during your 3-year course, but PR may be something you love, and it's something you can go on to and get more involved in later. That's just one of many possibilities you can do with your degree. Yes, this is kind of fun. It kind of shows you the difference between chaos and process. This actually is a book, a very good book written by Sir John Hegarty, and I recommend any books by Sir John Hegarty. He's one of the UK's leading creative directors. He's a gentleman in his 70s. That makes him, over 20 years older than me. But he was always a great shining light to my generation. He's still a shining light to the people like your generation that's coming up, because he's sort of just one of those kind of wise, smart, old dedushkas who's had a lot of experience. He writes very well on creativity. He's got a book on creativity, which I recommend you to read. And also Advertising as Intelligence, I think, is one of his other books, which is a great insight to advertising. He talks about different creative processes. Some are very structured, look at the black line. Some are very creative and mad, look at the red line, which kind of goes all over. I've worked in both sorts of agencies. So actually, this is very insightful. The courses. So at this point, I'm now going to hand over to Luca, who will speak to you and give you insight and understanding about the very concrete directions and courses. So Luca, I hope you're there, and over to you.
Thank you very much, Mike. Welcome, everybody. So this is a quick overview on what you will find at Britannica in terms of academics, in terms of courses, and some recommendation about the way how you should look at the courses and take them, because this is a British education. Those are British education programs, business and marketing. Therefore, you should, we should first of all understand together what does it mean British education. So let's start from seeing that the first level that you may find in Britannica is the level 2, that is the introduction to business and marketing. Then we have a level 3 that is the foundation in business and marketing. Usually our student can enter in level 2, either in level 2 or in level 3, that is the foundation and is the gateway to the BA. Keep in mind that you guys could be enrolled directly in level 3 in case you have already finished the first year of education in any university, in this case, Russian university or whatever other university. And in case, in both cases, level 2 and level 4, you should have passed the IELTS level of English language, because our program, our education is based on the English language. Level 4, level 5, and level 6 represent the 3 years of the BA in marketing and advertising, marketing with digital communication, and marketing, pure strategic marketing. They might differ from each other, and in fact they differ from each other, but what makes these 3 parts different is not just what you learn and what we teach to you, but the way how you want to make marketing, what you really like. And this is the very first advice, free advice for today that we want to share with you. Do what you like, do what you love. Don't do things just because then you think to find a great opportunity. It's important to have a goal, but it's much more important, in my personal opinion and in my life experience, to understand that happiness is the road. is not the goal. You can't do and study something that you don't like just because then you do something that you like. Do things that you like every day. That's why it's important to choose the right path. Mike, please, next slide. BA in marketing and advertising offers to you, let's start from the goals, so from the outcomes of this degree, these career opportunities. The primary careers might be account manager, brand manager, advertising manager, and PR manager. Note that those are managerial roles. Therefore, it's important to understand what is marketing and what is advertising. And thanks to Mike, I believe that is already clear and engaging what these two words mean, but also what does it mean to manage something. Basically, you must be able at the end of this program to manage, to handle concept and practical things. In fact, another hint on our typology of education is that there is constantly a mix of theory with practice. From every single lecture to the entire program, you will always find theory merged with practice, with tutorials, with workshop. Every lecture is divided in a first part that is more theoretical and the second part that is a practical exercise, study case, or workshops. And the same we can say about, for example, the assignment. It's very, very important to understand that we believe in a practical approach to learning, something like learn by doing. Related careers could be a market researcher or a communication officer related to marketing and advertising. Please, next slide, Mike, thank you. This is for marketing and advertising, the pathway 4, 5, and 6. I want to make you know that you will choose your pathway after the foundation, or if you are enrolled directly into level 4, as soon as you are enrolled. But something interesting is that level 4 is apparently the same, the pathway is the same for all the 3 degrees. This is apparently the same, because another very important thing to understand is that the British system is based on something that we call the self-study. What does it mean? That per every hour that you spend in class, you need to spend at least another hour, but usually is a bit more, per every 60 minutes, at least 70 more minutes self-study. What does it mean? Research, reading, doing things, and I prefer to say making things, because this is the right word for practical education, and this helps you to shape your future education and your future learning. Something like principle of marketing that basically introduce you to the basic concept of marketing will be then shaped by each of you during the self-study, and thanks to the help and support of your tutors, because we tutors, we lecturers, we are always available to help you, to guide you, and to explain to you and show to you which mistakes we did in past. But then you saw that then you are free to make your own mistakes, because in a school, mistake is something important. This is the place where people make mistakes, where people make experiments, when you guys must try new things. And we encourage this attempt. In the level 5 and level 6, many courses become exclusive per each path. Keep also in mind that this is very important, that in level 5 and level 6, you guys could decide to continue your education at our partner institution, the Hertfordshire University. It is a possibility, and you are welcome, of course, to ask for more information when it will be the right moment. So next slide, please. the marketing with digital communication is the, I would say, the up-to-date content for marketing. Digital communication, especially for you guys, for a young audience, is becoming very important and really interesting. This is the last frontier of marketing and communication. Now, it must be clear that the fundamental concept of marketing, of communication, of advertising still stand. They are not different. What becomes different is basically the media or the tools that you use to make marketing, advertising, communication, even place or price. Just the tool is different. Therefore, when you will be studying marketing or advertising, you can start shaping your mind or narrowing your research toward this specific way of making things. Is a way of making things. So you can expect as your primary careers to become a digital communication manager, a marketing communication manager. Again, this managing thing, this need to be able to manage and to handle different concepts and different things, sometimes all together. Market research specialist, a content marketing manager, and a marketing media manager. Also, as a related career, you can expect to become a business development manager or a strategic marketing manager. You see, it's not just about to see where a path is leading you, but also to choose the right path, because this is something that you want and like and love to do for the next 3 years. Besides, you will never be happy doing something that in the end you don't like. And it's very difficult if you do something that you don't really love, or to become rich, important, famous, or whatever. Next slide, please, Mike. This is the pathway level 4, 5, and 6. You see that in red, under level 4, you have the same, again, the same courses, the same name for the courses that you had in the previous degree, but this will be your study experience, your self-study experience with with the help or under the tutor of your tutors, to decide if you will work, you will study, you will research, you will make assignment more focused on this or that. And then level after level 5 and 6, you will start learning and studying things that are exclusive for these specific pathways. Exactly for all the other degrees, you can study level 5 and or level 6 at our partner institution. Okay, the next slide, please. BA in marketing. This is the pure marketing, the strategic marketing, the I would say the old-fashioned school of marketing. That is basically the fundamental, the foundation of the entire marketing in a company, in a corporate, in a small enterprise, and even in the life of each of us. Because we do make marketing and we do make communication every day, all the day. Even when you try to access a new job offers, when you make an interview, you're not just making communication, you're making marketing. It means that you are placing yourself, you are a product, and you have a price, and you have to make an advertise, make a communication, and make a promotion of yourself. That's why this is the basis of everything. Your primary careers will be as an account executive, as a marketing strategist. That is just like my colleague and friend Michael is an advertiser. I was, when I was working in the industry, a marketing strategist, basically, business development coordinator, sales and events coordinator, and finally a market researcher, sales manager, trade marketing manager, marketing communication specialist, are other combinations that you can see as your future goal, as your future career. Mike, please, the next slide. Okay, this is the level 3 foundation in business and marketing. Logically, I would say that the first step to enter into the British system is to enter through the foundation. This is the main gateway, even though I've already explained that you might be enrolled even in level 4. Anyways, this is the logic entryway into the business and marketing world, where you will study these specific exclusive modules that will be tough in the same way, exactly with the same philosophy of the BA, and we'll try to not just to give you the basis, the gnoseological, the theoretical basis of marketing and business, but also to introduce you to a different learning and studying experience. Britannica is a school, therefore it must be most of all an experience. The relationship with other students, sometimes foreigner students, the relationship with your tutor, and as you see, you have in front of you 2 tutors, and we are both not Russian. I'm Italian, Mike is British, so it will open your vision of the world also through this relationship. And this relationship is what we call an experience. The school and the learning process must be lived daily. Exploring business is your introduction to this world. The international business is your introduction to the business outside the border in the UK and in other countries and in other places. Personal and business finance has the basic concept of how to manage what is the goal of marketing as business. So basically money. You will learn about the principle of management. You will learn how to develop a marketing campaign, because remember that basically marketing is not just one thing, but is a number of things working together. How to manage an event, digital marketing, and market research. See, you have a little bit of everything that you will find later. So you will be helped in your decision of the next path, or better, the decision of the best typology of degree for you and for your interest. The next slide, please, Mike.
Yep.
Thanks. Remember also that Foundation in Business Marketing has English language courses. So you can see from September to June, you have regular English session twice a week. IELTS preparation and business English dealt in small groups. Free mock IELTS test twice a year. And the required level of English by the end of the year is IELTS Academic 6.0 or higher to finally access to the BA degrees. The next slide, please. So this is
should I take it?
basically everything about the courses. I will wait for your question if you have any at the end of this presentation, and the word is returning to Michael Gibson. Thank you very much for now.
Great, thank you, Luca. That was wonderful, and a lot of very important. Luca said there, particularly about the type of British education as being something where you put in as much time as you get at the school. That's very much where the English system works. And as a result, it does actually develop creative thinking and creative approaches where you're expected to ask questions and challenge things. And that is one of the, I think, kind of fundamental differences about a British education versus a Russian education, where there's much more learning involved in a Russian education. And often, certainly when I was at Oxford, we used to find that the Russian students had read many more books than the English students at Oxford, but the English students at Oxford had learnt systems of questioning and challenging that were sort of different from the Russian approach. And also, I think Luca said some very interesting things about the education being an experience, about developing relationships, and something you live daily. I think that's really, really key. The relationships are very, very crucial. And that is actually, marketing is very much about relationships. So, you know, this education really goes hand in hand with what we're trying to prepare you for going forward. So I wanted just to say a couple more things. Why in an art school? First of all, we're part of the Art School of Hertfordshire University, but we're also linked with Hertfordshire University's business school. So we've got these interesting links to back to the UK. We're guided by the business school of Hertfordshire University, but also we're kind of under the wing of the British Higher School of Art and Design. So it's a very interesting environment with all sorts of creative people around you, interesting relationships, and definitely very rich in experiences and resources nearby. The Higher School of Arts and Education, you're part of a bigger university complex, which includes the Scream School, the Architecture School, and there are a number of different sites on the Art Play campus where you do find architects, you find music. There's a music school as well, which is actually also really important, particularly in our advertising world, when we have to create sound design and music. There are other places like the architects, photographers. It's a fascinating and very rich and diverse experience. And also we see nowadays, you know, particularly come out to the forefront during the COVID crisis, when people have been working at home, and people have been kind of working at a distance and using Zoom and other tools online to create virtual meetings. In fact, indeed, right now, before COVID, we've all been sitting in the Britannica art school, but now actually we're doing this online, and this is going to be much more part of the way we do life. If you look at my own agency, we used to have 2 offices. As we now return back to normal, we've actually stopped renting one of the offices, not just because we obviously need to save some money because we've had some financial challenges in the last 3 months, but our agency has also realized that, in fact, we work very well at a distance. So we're restructuring the way that we do business, and we're going to have one office with 50% of the staff who would need to come in, having to come in, and the other 50% who've decided they can work at a distance will be actually working with a system of hot desking. So the world is changing. And these are the sorts of things you learn in an art school, is that we don't all need to kind of sit in an office. And there are many more creative ways to do business than this kind of old school way of going to an office that kind of used to look like that, which is all about people sitting behind desks. That's definitely the past, and the future is something new, different, and very exciting. I want just to talk a little bit in the last kind of 10 minutes or so about the Cannes Advertising Festival. Now, in fact, Cannes Advertising Festival is starting next week, so we're just in time for that. And you can go along to that and register now this year, because they've had to cancel it. And it's now free of charge, and you can follow it next week. Cannes Lions, it's online. It'll be a fabulous experience. So I do really recommend it. If you need to have a link specifically, then contact our wonderful Britannica staff who help, or get in touch with me. But the link should be pretty obvious, canneslions.com. Just find that, and then they'll take you into this year's kind of virtual experience. A lot of very interesting content by the leaders in the advertising and marketing industry. That starts on Monday. But I used to go every year. I would have been there actually flying there today this year, but obviously it's been cancelled. And I wanted just to take 1 or 2 cases with you, just to kind of inspire you and get excited. And before we go into a question and answer session. So I've just got a couple of cases from 2019, the Cannes Festival of Creativity. It used to be called the Cannes Advertising Festival. As I've mentioned earlier on, advertising, the world has become much more creative. The advertising industry, which has always typically been a creative industry, but all industries require to be creative fact, in the last 3 months, this has become even more apparent. Businesses have had to think very creatively about how to survive the COVID shutdown for 3 months, and how will they go into the future. So I want to show you a couple of cases from last year, which I think are particularly exciting. Marmite is a Unilever brand. It's very famous in the UK. Some of you might be familiar with it. It's very British. Probably some of you are cringing because actually it turns out that people either hate it or they love it. And it's a very interesting because it really divides people sort of 50-50. And what they've done cleverly there with this brand is they've got a positioning which actually recognizes the fact that people hate it or love it. Now that takes a very brave marketeer, a very clever marketeer, who, when they come to their brand communication, says, yeah, people hate it, and we're cool with that. Yeah, a lot of marketing people I come across, all sorts of different types, they're convinced everyone has to love their brand, and normally that's kind of true. But with Marmite's case, sort of part of what makes Marmite Marmite is the fact that people hate it. In fact, we've had tastings with my students, and it's wonderful to see how it splits people 50-50. And when they hate it, oh boy, do they hate it. So their idea, which is very clever, is in their communication, everyone is a hater or a lover of Marmite. Yeah, and that's fine. And upon this, they've built a whole kind of communicating, a whole advertising sort of campaign, which has been going for many years. And what I like about it is they've been consistent over the years. But it's interesting, when you have an idea like people either love it or they hate it, you can create so many clever communications. And if we look at just a few campaigns, and I'm going to dissect the one from last year that won some awards, you can see that they've created these pictures of controversial people. President Bush, yeah? You either hate him or love him. Or Mr. Bean, you either love him or hate him. And they've kind of created the picture out of Marmite. I should say that Marmite is a substance which is made out of yeast, which we normally spread on toast or on bread with butter. Another campaign, top right here, you see the two posters, and they actually decided they would have a virtual kind of vibri, a virtual election, and they created campaigns. One group, of course, the party that loved Marmite, and the other party were the people that hate Marmite. And you can see how they had fun with playing on that. You may now spread freely the love party, or if cowpats were rich in B vitamins, would you eat them? Yeah. And so it's interesting, another way of framing the idea of loving or hating. Another campaign, you love it, hate or hate it. Another campaign here at the bottom, love it or hate it, just don't forget it. Now, the campaign I had last year, which was very interesting, was actually they discovered, and I kid you not, they discovered that actually a crazy idea is that actually you can determine by looking at our DNA if a person will be a lover or a hater. So this is a really very creative campaign. Marmite actually really did sponsor some research by some British scientists that said actually people are predisposed to love or hate Marmite by looking at their genes. And they then created this test kit. You can see a little box set on the left, which you could send off for in the post. You could then do a swab on the inside of your mouth, send it to Marmite, who would then test it. And they would send you back a result saying you love it or you hate it, which is a great, fun piece of communication. Another way of communicating this idea of being a lover or a hater of Marmite. This is a very, very famous campaign. It's been going for decades now, and it's done Marmite very well. And what I love about this is they've kept with one idea, and they have kind of, over the years, been able to express it and explore it in totally different ways, even finding a DNA test way of communicating that brand position. I'm going to show you here's the test kit, by the way. You would just send off it much like any other promotion. They'd send you this box, a little test tube, a swab, you fill it out, put it in an envelope and send it back to a Marmite, who would then send you a letter saying whether you're a lover or a hater. This, I mean, you say, well, why? Well, it's a great fun piece of communication that actually gets us interactive with the brand, but also is a lovely, fresh way of talking about being a lover or a hater. And they made one of my favorite TV ads of all time. This actually is about getting the test results and the different situations that maybe come to life.
They're here. This should be interesting. Please find and close the results of your family's recent Marmite gene tests.
These show whether you were born a lover or a hater.
What does it say? You're a hater. Dad.
Yeah.
I need to tell you something. I'm a Marmite lover.
I thought you said I hated it, and this says I love it. What type of mother does something like that?
Baby, oh my goodness, I am so stupid. I prefer jam. I'm carrying a hater's baby! I should have been in my childhood! Oh, sweetheart.
We didn't care. Oh, we just want you to be happy with who you are.
Have you ever done it here? In this house?
Yes. We did it to make you happy.
On this table?
Yes.
Ah, baby, please don't
I hate Mum, I hate you!
I can learn. Look.
All lovers.
Oh, I hate it! I hate it!
He's never even tried.
What I love about this campaign is, first of all, it's Unilever, who are some of the world's most mature and best marketeers and produce some of the best advertising. Generally, always look out for what Unilever do, because they're super smart. Procter & Gamble, another brand, a producer of many familiar family brands, also very, very good. But what is particularly interesting here is that, love it and amazing. The end text, the last thing that's been said is the kid running out saying, I hate it, I hate it. I mean, that's genius, really. They're so confident. And they've got advertisers and marketeers in Unilever who are very confident in their brand and very experienced in communication. They can produce a piece of communication like that. There's only one eating moment in there when a guy spits out the Marmite. Yeah, it's just fantastic. And I think you all recognize the different situations between a mum and a daughter screaming off against each other, son trying to tell his father something very difficult, a wife kind of accusing a husband of having some sort of relationship which was undesirable, and so on and so forth. And here are a couple of others. Actually, these are some print ads from last year's, which I think is lovely. It's lovers don't spread the hate. Again, another way of talking about loving or hating, and actually finding a really clever way of reframing that loving or hating idea. Lovers don't spread the hate. The idea, if you've got a dirty knife of Marmite, you stick it in the marmalade, you leave Marmite in the marmalade, again with the butter, again with the honey. Ideas. Moving on, I've got about 5 more minutes, a few more things I want to share with you. Now, this is a lovely idea done by Burger King. Burger King are really, really interesting what they do. And they always troll and attack McDonald's. This is a very clever app they did. This is a very digital idea that was a big winner at Cannes last year. Let me just play this particular film to you. I think it's self-explanatory, but a very clever way of running a promotion, getting people to open a discount, but then to actually, in a way, have some fun at McDonald's expense. Again, very, very clever.
Burger King wants you to come here. Yes, to McDonald's.
Burger King is trolling its fast food rival
With the promotion available through the Burger King mobile app. Yeah, but there is a small catch.
So I saw this Burger King commercial where you can get a Whopper for a penny. Only!
For a Whopper?
Whopper.
Use Burger King's BK app.
Then be within 600 feet of a McDonald's restaurant.
Burger King geofenced over 14,000.
14,000 McDonald's restaurants in the U.S.
Unbelievable. So I parked my news car about 100 feet from a McDonald's.
I'm at McDonald's getting a coupon for Burger King. I almost feel like I'm stealing.
Yes. Whopper detour.
This is a really cool promo, guys. How fun is this?
This is an amazing use of technology to get consumers out of a rival store and into your store.
Can you do a Whopper Jr.?
They probably could make that. It wouldn't be as good as Burger King would, to be honest with you.
4 blocks to your left.
Again, another idea. Burger King do a lot of this, we call it hackvertising, which is a way of kind of hacking into McDonald's. It's clever, it's kind of fun. McDonald's just ignores them, which is kind of the right thing for McDonald's to do, for something from a PR point of view. And Burger King kind of carries on having all sorts of campaigns at McDonald's expense. It's a classic kind of relationship that happens between a big monster brand like McDonald's, and if you're playing the second brand position, which is Burger King. Goes back, there's very famous ads from Avis rental cars, who actually used to say, this is back in the 70s, they used to say, we try harder, because they were the second brand in the car rental market. So Burger King does a very interesting thing like this as well. It's a very clever technical and modern idea, using an app and also getting people to open their app inside of McDonald's and get a promotion. And then I think I do one final thing before we go to questions. This is a nice idea. Pedigree do some very interesting work. It's a Mars brand. Mars is a big producer, very famous company, producing both dog and animal foods. And they also do all the famous chocolate bars like Snickers and Twix, which are everywhere. And of course, the Mars bar. Mars is one of the world's famous publicly owned companies. And Pedigree has done some interesting communication around the world. This is a lovely idea.
Every year in France, more than 1 million dogs skip their annual visit to the vet, risking to let spread an undiagnosed disease. Yet, a single drop of urine would suffice. So we decided to catch it directly.
Sorry, I'm just going to that. This is actually a different case, pardon me. It's actually a very clever case for an online promotion, which actually is for testing dogs for a particular illness. And it's actually produced not by Pedigree, but by another producer. Again, brilliant case.
Every year in France, more than 1 million dogs skip their annual visit to the vet, risking to let spread an undiagnosed disease. Yet, a single drop of urine would suffice. So we decided to catch it directly at the source. Purina presents Street Vet. The first billboard that turns something as simple and natural as a pee on a pole into an instant health checkup. Born from 2 years of research by the Engineering Institute in Korea and the veterinary clinic Vet Paris 7, Street Vet can detect up to 4 different health problems by tapping into the dog's most natural of urges. Specifically designed for both male and female dogs, Street Vet attracts them by diffusing pheromones, a natural call to action for our four-legged friends. Street Vet collects the urine and directs it into a sterile environment. Tests are run using a combination of chemical reagent and screening technology. The analysis is displayed, and if a health problem is detected, Street Vet suggests a specific Purina Pro Plan diet clinically designed to prevent the disease. When a deeper checkup is necessary, dog owners can download the results and bring it to the vet.
Street Vet permet d'être en avance sur la maladie et de savoir quand consulter.
Between each test, the entire system is fully cleaned to avoid compromising the next analysis. We launched Street Vet for a 3-week test with the public. Street after street, Purina Street Vet has changed people's perception on how important a regular health check is for our four-legged friends.
Ça te rassure sur la santé de ton chien et c'est primordial, c'est bien. Ça fait un lien avec le chien, c'est cool.
Thanks to Purina Street Vet, monitoring dogs' health is now as easy as a walk in the park.
So again, actually, by Nestle, as you can see, it's a very interesting case where they actually created a special product, an object on the streets of Paris in order to test dog urine. Genius idea, very good way of making Purina, which is a brand all about dog care in a very scientific way. It's a very clever way of actually referring to the brand characteristics, which is about kind of like a more scientific approach to care. I think we're going to stop there and go to questions and answers. So I hope you found that interesting. I'm actually sitting in a cafe outside of Moscow, so there's a bit of background noise as it's got a bit lively here. Earlier, let me know if I need to move, but we're now open for questions.
There is a question in the Q&A chat.
Okay.
I can read it. Hello, I would like to get higher education in Britannica. After that, I want to engage in fashion buying. I would like to clarify which faculty I should focus on for admission, art and design, or business and marketing. Well, if you don't mind, guys, I can answer this question because I have taught fashion buying for 11 years when I was in Florence. So I think that this is pretty much my field. And I hope that this anonymous attendee is online and can hear me. So basically, fashion buying, first of all, fashion marketing is a very distinctive and specific field. Fashion buying is one of the 2 or 3 specializations in fashion marketing, because basically there is fashion buying, fashion merchandising, and product development. Fashion buying is definitely a step that you take from any marketing degree. Basically, the pure marketing would be a very good start, but it can be even digital communication or advertising. It is important to understand that buying comes from marketing. The role of a buyer is really very close to product and to price, just to mention the 4 P's that Mike mentioned before.
A good answer. And Luca's definitely the man to answer that, having worked so many years in fashion. Great. Yeah. Any more questions out there? I can't actually see you. It's kind of slightly slightly bizarre since we have a closed system. So it's kind of hard to know what's happening beyond the screen.
Actually, don't be shy, because this is the right place to make all your questions. And remember that there are only silly answers. There are never silly questions. So don't be shy to ask whatever you need to know.
So we don't see any other questions, but we should welcome all the questions, and our audience could always call our admissions. You're always welcome to telephone the school, and we will answer your specific individual question. So thank you, everybody. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Luca. Thank you, PR, Alia, and Paulina. And please, you're always welcome at the British Higher School of Art and Design, Faculty of Marketing. And please contact us if you do really have some questions left. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your attention, guys.
Thank you. Goodbye, everybody.
Yes, thank you. Bye-bye.